Despite getting caught up in one of the craziest legal battles of all time when it comes to hip hop, Young Thug actually made it out of the YSL RICO trial without a scratch. Well, actually, I mean, if you consider 15 years of probation and supervised support, and he can't leave the state of Atlanta and all type of other stuff, scratches, well, then he probably got scratched. Nonetheless, it's a small price to pay when it comes to potentially spending the rest of your life in prison. That being said, he's here to drop a new album called UY Scuti, which is allegedly slated to drop in 2025. I think this album will make or break his career, and I'm not exaggerating, guys. And in this video, I'm gonna tell you exactly why. By the way, guys, my name is Uche, and I make videos like this every single week, or at least I'm planning to. So if you enjoy what you see, hit that like button, it'll push it out to more people. Hit that subscribe button, it'll help me grow. Now let's get into this. All right, guys, let's start with a quick little background on Young Thug for the folks who probably don't know exactly what he is, who he is, what he's done, and why his name is such a staple in hip hop, not only for the South, but also for this newer generation of rappers, right? So in order to do that, I think we really need to start from the album that he dropped in 2019 called So Much Fun. You could argue this is probably the height of Young Thug's career, where he dropped singles like Hot with Gunna. He had The London with J. Cole and Travis Scott. And also he had a song called Bad 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 with Lil Baby. Now, the reason why this album is probably the most important one in his career is just because the performances of those singles, man, and what it did for his overall stature, right? He was able to propel YSL and Gunna, of course, who we'll later get into in this video, forward and really put them on for his YSL collective, right? And after that, he did just that, right? He put his YSL collective on much more with some folks like Lil Keed coming into the fold, and he played a role in an album that we're going to talk about after this one. But the next album he dropped was Slime and B with Chris Brown. That one dropped May 5th, 2020. Huge moment, because quite honestly, the single Go Crazy went so crazy on the radio airwaves that I think it opened people's minds up to digesting Young Thug in a different way, right? That was much more of a R&B collaborative effort. It really got people to see Young Thug's artistry in a different light. Of course, Chris Brown did his thing as he always does. By the way, I can't wait to go to a Chris Brown concert, which I will be doing in Detroit. Shout out to all my people in Detroit. Nonetheless, Slime and B, man, like I said before, you know, this is the height of the collective and really putting his people on. Like I mentioned before, him and Gunna went crazy at this point. They had the song Ski. Oh my God, what a cultural moment Ski was. Honestly, if you weren't there on TikTok, on Instagram, where everybody was using that sound, you missed out, because this song kind of captivated, I think, hip hop, man. And so at the end of the day, we can't take anything away from what Young Thug has done. Next, we got to get into his album that he dropped in 2021 called Punk, which most notably was the album he dropped right before he went to jail. It had singles like Bubbly with Drake and Travis Scott. It also had Stupid/Asking. It also had the song Dropping Jewels. A lot of interesting records that came from this project. This saw a much more diverse artistic version of Young Thug. I remember there was a Tiny Desk concert he did where he really dove into the aesthetic with the pink hair, really showed his live performance aspect. Y'all gotta check that out if you haven't. And then it gets a little weird, because he did drop an album while he was behind bars at the height of his RICO trial called Business is Business, which, man, there was a real interesting strategy as to why that album came out. I remember there was a bunch of buzz around why the album was dropping when Gunna first dropped his album, at least the first one back after he got out of jail. Nonetheless, it had songs like Oh You Went, huge song with Drake, Cars Bring Me Out with Future, and then also he had a couple of songs with Travis Scott and Yak Gotti. And so again, these are some of the most notable albums that he's dropped in more recent past, but that gears us up for this new album, UY Scuti, which is supposedly scheduled to drop in 2025. All right, let's speed things up to more present day. So Young Thug dropped a single called Money on Money featuring Future on April 25th, 2025. And to be honest with you guys, I just feel like that single came and went. You know, it was a really dope moment, if you will, for Thug, you know, collaborating with his longtime friend and just overall Atlanta, you know, brethren and Future. They really got into their bag with the trap, the traditional trap sounds, if you will. Like, it was, to be honest with you, that record was nothing special. I will say I did enjoy the production and the beat switching. I thought it was just an overall standard Thug track. And I mean, it works. I'm sure it works for a lot of people, but if you ask me, I don't think that track moved the needle very much. And hey, maybe he has more music in the tuck that will, but that one was pretty standard. And if we go back a bit, he had his first song that he actually collaborated on since leaving jail after he had beat the YSL Rico trial, where he hopped on the song with Lil Baby and Future again on that song called Dumb, Dumb, and Dumber, which came out January 2nd. That song was actually featured on Lil Baby's Wham project. But again, pretty standard trap beat. I will say, guys, Young Thug did turn up on that verse. Like, he turned up. I thought he was a standout on that song. I thought he really did his thing. And one of the things that I was really focusing on when it came to Young Thug was just making sure that he doesn't break any of the stipulations that the law asked him to follow. Because again, there's a lot of monitoring with lyrics going on. There's a lot of prosecutions and indictments going on in the city of Atlanta, the state of Georgia as a whole. But I feel like that was actually a really good showing for Young Thug. And then of course, if we take it back even further, after Drake's heated battle with Kendrick Lamar, as he was trying to start his buzz back up, he did manage to find his way on a Lucy that Drake released called It's Up, which also featured 21 Savage. That one came out August 30th, 2024. And pretty dope hook. Thug was on that thing doing his thing. And shout out to him, man, because at the end of the day, this is what we want from Thug, right? We want that energy. We want the vocal inflections. We want him to be using his voice as an instrument. We want all of that when it comes to Young Thug. So I feel like it's been a very interesting sprinkle of Young Thug throughout the music that we've heard him on while he was in prison, after he's gone out of prison. But we shall see what happens. Again, we're still waiting on UY Scuti, and we shall see when it drops. All right, so let's talk about the new album, UY Scuti. And it's so funny. I waited way too long to even explain what the hell a UY Scuti is. Because at the end of the day, no, this is not a gun. No, this is not a bike. UI Scuti is actually the name of a super giant star out in space. So shout out to Young Thug for the astronomy. Sorry, not to be confused with the zodiac signs. It's so funny. I wonder how Young Thug thought of this. Was this like a prison thought? I can almost feel like I can imitate Thug in a sense. You know what I'm saying? We put that UI Scuti. You know what I mean? We're from Atlanta, the streets. You know what I'm saying? I got that UI Scuti on me. You feel me? All right, y'all. All right, let me stop imitating y'all. Listen, I don't want no smoke. But at the end of the day, this is the name of his new album, and apparently it's done. He's teased it. He's hinted at it. He said that it was originally dropping in May of 2025, but then he went on to do a couple of different interviews. I know he did some streaming and, met up with some folks like Neon and Aiden Ross. He talked about the new album dropping soon, but the rollout has been a little interesting. I'm not going to kill his rollout too much just because, man, look, he just got out of jail. I'm going to cut him some slack, but I will say this album is make or break for Thug, like I mentioned earlier in this video, because for him to have gone away for so long, for him to be at, I would say, the later stages of his career, not that he's old or anything, but it's like, what exactly does he have to offer that people want to hear? Like I mentioned before, personally, I'm a Young Thug fan, so this ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm here for everything Homeboy drop, as long as he gets into his creative bag, because he's an extremely versatile artist. Yeah, man, we're gonna see what happens when it comes to the type of music that he's gonna release. There's been a lot of hype. The rollout has been a little interesting. Some good moves, some bad, I would say. And of course, there's been a lot of rumors as far as confirmed and also speculated collaborators on this project. Of course, Future gotta join the damn album. Listen, yo, are you guys like me? Are you getting tired of the same features? Like, Future's on the album, Travis Scott's on the album, 21 Savage is on the album, Mariah the Scientist gotta be on the album. That's his girl, right? She kind of has to be on the album, right? Allegedly, Ken Carson could be on the album as well. I mean, these are all rumors, and the track list is not confirmed. But I'm curious to know if he will go left field, because I'm known for being the type of person that really enjoys when Young Thug gets into his melodic bag. I remember when he dropped Beautiful Thugger Girls back in 2017, and I love when he goes left field, not only with the aesthetic, well, sometimes he got to wear a dress to do that, but I love when he goes left field artistically, because he can sing, he has the melody, he can harmonize, he can really do a lot of things that I think make a dope blend of music that people can really get their ears behind and really enjoy. So, man, this new album, man, I have no idea what to expect. I will say I hope Heats the Streets back up, because for him to have dropped that single Money on Money 3 months ago, it kind of came and went. I'm not happy about that, and it's not looking good for Young Thug from that perspective. So we're gonna see. I think he needs to heat the streets back up. I think he needs to hop on some features. I think he needs to drop another song, potentially. But we're going to see what happens, man. All right, so what would a Young Thug video be without us mentioning the YSL Rico trial and all the beefs that he's acquired with Gunna? What would it be without it, man? You know, so I have to include that into this discussion. So as you guys know, he was one of 27 folks who were picked up in the YSL trial, which spanned a few years. Apparently, it was the most expensive trial in Georgia state history. He was facing a lot of time for murder, racketeering, ton of violent charges that ultimately he did plea out on, and he accepted a 15-year probation sentence where he was able to go home, see his family, see his girl, regain, you know, the type of life that he had before in making music. And I wish him well. I really do. But let's not forget, throughout the course of this ongoing trial and after, there's been a lot of tension with Gunna, right? Now, the origin of that tension probably stems from Young Thug seeing his co-defendant in Gunna accepting an Alford plea, which many people say he snitched. You know, I'm a law-abiding citizen, guys. I ain't got nothing to do with that. I pay my taxes, and I promise you, I will accept the Alford plea in a heartbeat. All right, but that's only because I don't tote guns illegally. That being said, the tension between these two guys got really, really heated, you know? Thug kept calling him a snitch. He even got Lil Baby to join in on this. He got tons of artists to really pile on Gunna. Gunna was really holding it down. He never really publicly, at least, dragged Thug's name in the mud, but I thought things kind of reached a head when Young Thug did get out, and again he dropped his single Money on Money, and on the bridge he pretty much said these fuck niggas selling for nothing and I gotta be the one calling them friends. And he essentially said, brother, you're a rat. Twin, you a rat. It's crazy. And I think it's the cat's out the bag, guys. You know, these two don't like each other. At least maybe it's even one-sided, with Thug not necessarily liking Gunna and what he was able to, the stance he took during the whole trial. But in my opinion, I feel like fans are past snitching. Like, Gunna has shown it time and time again that even if he did snitch, when you make great music, it really doesn't even matter what you did. And that includes dudes who are street guys. So again, I ain't got nothing to do with that. If y'all want to support people who are alleged snitches, that's your business. If you don't, that's also your business. For me personally, I'm here for the music. I can say this without a doubt. Gunna makes great music, and I'm hoping Young Thug, when he drops his new album, UY Scuti, is a great project to where we can get back to the business and the chicken. You know what I mean? Barbecue chicken, as Shaq likes to always say. Let's get to the chicken, all right? Damn, all this damn beef. All right, let's talk about the fan perception when it comes to Young Thug. You know, I think it's a really interesting dynamic that he's found himself in. You know, this is a street guy, and this is a street artist who has made fun songs throughout the years, and he's made people love his music through infectious melodies and, you know, dope aesthetics and a ton of collaborations with your favorite artists like Drake, Travis, J. Cole, the list goes on. But coming out of this trial where he accepted a plea, you know, him trying to pit folks against Gunna for being a supposed rat, and seeing that fans are generally not really caring about that, you know, it almost puts Young Thug at an inflection point in his career, right? It's either put the gimmicks aside, drop great music, let people love you and adore you and what you're able to do, or you put music out and fans say, man, this guy don't got it anymore. Man, this is not what I expected. Who let Thug put this music out? Man, Thug, watch, he was behind bars. He forgot how to make music. Y'all all know how people online do, and I'm really curious to know what the fan perception is going to be once this album UY Scuti does drop. I find it interesting that, again, there hasn't been a ton of singles that have really followed momentum, but maybe that's to come. And again, for you guys, like I said at the start of this video, I'm going to keep saying it. I genuinely believe this is a career-defining moment and album for Young Thug, because this is that moment where it's either put up or shut up. In reality, we've seen a lot of instances of guys who've gone to jail, whether it's Gucci Mane, whether it's the Boosies, whether it's the 6ix9ines, and the list goes on, where they go to jail and they come out and the buzz is at an all-time high. And you usually should strike hot with an album to really ride the momentum of that wave. And, you know, we just haven't seen that from Young Thug. And I'm wondering if that's strategic. I'm wondering if that's a blunder on their part. But nonetheless, when that new album drops, we're going to be here to cover it, guys. But what do you guys think? Do you feel like Young Thug's momentum has decimated Do you feel like he's lost steam? Are you actually anticipating this new album, UY Scuti? I mean, there's a lot of people I can see who are kind of off Young Thug. For me personally, I'm here for anything Young Thug drops. That's one of my guys from a long way back. But let me know in the comments what you guys believe. Again, my name is Uche, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.